Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the situation report or the summary for the day of 1285 for the 31st of August. So we're gonna jump straight to the SITREP. So over in the Sumy front in the far north, we still have fighting being reported in these areas here, and there is a sense that the Russians may have taken more grounds because previously the fighting is over at Stara Huta and Nova Huta. And there's once that was reported at Lokhrivlova. This time round, there is a new place. Velyka Berizka. Berizka. Yeah, Berizka. So Velyka Berizka. And it could be a case where the Russian forces have actually penetrated through the forest and attacked towards Velyka Berizka. And maybe the Russians have totally run amok across the entire forest region. So this is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. The harassment in this sector is getting heavier. Reminds me of Lord of the Rings, where the orcs are just roaming around the land of Rohan and and desecrate the Mirkwood. This is like Mirkwood. So anyway, that's something happening over there. As you can see, super far from everything else. Clearly, this is an attempt at just diversionary operations. So let's see whether how the Ukrainians were going to deal with it. Over sending too much forces over there will be a waste of troops. Over in the Sumy front, this Sumy in the north, the fighting have kind of stringed down to just a few areas here, with fighting reported at Oleksievka, towards Krapishkina, as well as shelling reported at Kianisia. So that's all. So that's all from the Sumy front. Lately, my itchy nose syndrome is back. I'm not sure why. It has gone away for months. So suddenly, it's starting to get like, when I talk, the nose hair start to vibrate, and it's like make me itchy. Weird. No, it's just weird. No, it's just wired. Kharkiv front. Kharkiv. Fighting is reported at Klipoke, as well as Voroshnya. That's all. The fighting reported at Kozyacha Lopan yesterday was not repeated again. So, things has went rather routine and quiet again. In Voroshnya itself, there is some geolocation of Russian airstrikes noted in Ukrainian positions. So previous front line was here. So the Russian has launched some airstrikes, and there is no serious attempt, I feel, by the Russian side to want to conquer Voroshnya. I believe this is just part of the attrition war, just to keep the Ukrainians busy over at this front line. Like, I don't think they are serious about the conquest. Like, if you look at I think the main reason is this. If you look at the peace deals that the Russians are proposing to Donald Trump, they are willing to do land swaps. They want the Donetsk region primarily, and then secondarily they would want the rest of Zaporizhia and the rest of Kherson. So all these conquered grounds in Kharkiv, in the Sumy region, I think the Russians seems to be willing to trade them off for Donetsk, and maybe Zaporizhia and Kherson. And I'm not. I got a feeling that is the main reason why they might not want to do more in this sector here. Of course, it could be a manpower issue as well. It could be strategic purpose as well. But it's just something that I'm pondering about. Over in the Voroshnya front, so in the Minove sector, there is fighting reported at Ambarne. This is mentioned by the Russian Defense Ministry as usual. Otherwise, there's nothing much over that sector. In the Voroshnya front, so this is Voroshnya. Fighting is reported over at Nyamka, Krasny Pershi, Novosilka, Feyholivka, and Zapatne. So that is the main action. It seems to be a bit more busy than usual. And it's important to note this is a 24-hour report. So, this is just a past day. The combined report by the two sides seems to be a bit more busy. So let's watch on. And this is also the reason why I actually prefer to do SITREP on the daily basis. and this is why I'm gonna try to do daily again, because I feel like there's a bit more nuance when we do daily. When I tried to do this multi-day sit reps, it just felt very bland. Like that I mean that's me, that's me. But yeah, but do you have the brain power or the IQ level to understand like the intricacies? I think the regulars would have but most of the general public, the layman's, the people, the normal people, the big public tends to don't care, they just don't care. So yeah, it's just some random thoughts, like some people like me, like history legend, we like to go too deep. Like we think too much, and we go too deep. We feel like depth is more important than the details, and then in the end, actually nobody cares for them. Like my report is, in my opinion, is already pretty watered down, and it's still too much, So anyway, we have fighting reported at Siversk, Petropavlovka, Kupiansk. Geolocation of Ukrainian forces in Moskovka, signaling that they are making some advance at Moskovka, and there is fighting reported at Stepova Novosilka. I just want to put there's a caveat. The name I use the AI to combine the report so that I faster the reading and mapping. But they translated it as Stara Novosilka. There's no such thing as a Stara Novosilka. I believe it's Stepova Novosilka. So that is the main place. So and the one at Moskovka, this geolocation signal that the Ukrainian forces have expanded the zone of control within Moskovka. However, according to the pro-Russian Telegram channel Mangusk, they say that this video is actually 2 months old. So this geolocated by Crimea Caprice, this video is actually 2 months old, and that this is actually not. They say that basically this is not reality. This is basically a belated video, and that's Ukrainian forces getting hit and whacked before the Russians captured it. But yeah, we will just map based on the information that is available. And then eventually, reality will catch up, and then we'll just know what's the updated truth. So it is what it is. So don't get too caught up with it. Nobody knows what's the reality. Like for example, how much caffeine I drink in my coffee. You don't know, right? You don't know. How you know I have too much caffeine? So yeah. Why would you even care how much caffeine I have? Exactly, why would we care too much about how much ground is captured? Yeah, we care because if not, I have nothing to report. Then of course you don't want to watch, and then I don't earn money. So yeah, it's important that you know how much caffeine I drink. So moving into the Borova front. The Borova front, this front has also went super quiet. Only fighting is reported at Novoplatonivka, and that's all. That's all from the Borova front. Moving further south to the Oscil-Liman front. At the Oscil-Liman front, we have fighting reported at Kharkiv. The Ukrainian forces, according to the pro-Russian sources, say that the Ukrainians are on the counter, attacking at Ohievka region, Melievka region, and at Kuru. Russians are attacking Novy Maya, Karpivka, Shandriholove, Darilove. Darilove is the first time it was mentioned, I think. No, it's not. Previously, I think it's based on the geolocation, based on the frontline changes by Deep State UA. But in terms of reporting, this is the first time by the Russian Defense Ministry at Koloziazi as well as Zaporizhia. So there is some kind of a consolidated counterattack by the Ukrainian forces in this sector here to kind of stop the Russians' offensive across the other regions here. So let's see whether this will work out to stop the Russians. I tentatively feel like we need more progress from the Ukrainian side, more captures before the Russians will take them more seriously and maybe divert forces from the offensive. Tentatively, not yet, but of course they might already have diverted forces, which is also probably why maybe changes are a bit more subdued. That's a possibility as well. So of course, we do not know what's the reality. Over in the Lyman or Siversk front, so this is Lyman and now this is Siversk. And fighting is reported at Borova, according to the Ukrainians. There is fighting reported in the Siversk forestry to Serebianka and Rihorivka. There's fighting also being noted. Fighting is reported towards Doronivka, Yampil, Siversk. And as you can see, everything is in the northern flank, in the north of Siversk, in the northern half of Siversk, all the way into the Serebiansk forestry, which is why this is one consolidated front line on its own, which is why I reporting this nowadays like this, because it seems to be more related than the upper one. The Lyman-Oscil front is its own thing, you see. Two different operations. So we move on to the Bakhmut front. Bakhmut, fighting is reported at Piteshny. That's it. And we move on. So into the Torex front. So at the Torex front, the battle at Torex allegedly is still ongoing according to the Ukrainians. But as far as DPA is concerned, Torex is already captured by the Russian forces. Fighting is reported at Bilakhora, Dilievka, Ivanopilia, Pleshievka, and Katerinivka and Yablunivka. So that's the fighting in this sector here. There's a geolocation of a M577 that was hit. I'm not sure what's the M577. I don't bother. I don't really care. So no. Yeah, you can actually search yourself what is the M577. But yeah, it was destroyed at Ivanopilia. So that's all. Not super important to me the details, because this is just war porn. By the if you go over too much, destruction of a single vehicle doesn't change the war. So this is the north of Pokrovsk, the Evil Rabbit front. At the Evil Rabbit front, you can see there's a lot more information that is noted because of the Russian Defense Ministry and the Ukrainians themselves actually, but mostly the Russians. The Russians have updated a lot of mapping. So this is the entire Evil Rabbit, the north of Minohrad. Fighting is reported at Rusinya, Petavka, Sofievka, Shakhove, Volodymyrivka, Mayat, Zoloty Kolosies, which is reported by the Ukrainians. But then if you look into the Russian reports, there's more. There's Novotroyske, Stepy, Vilne, Novidonbask, Nove Shakhove is mentioned by the Ukrainians. So the Ukrainian lines at the furthest is Zoloty Kolosies and then Nove Shakhove. And then Nikanorivka, Blieske, Fidorivka somehow, according to the Ukrainians, Suketske, Shovony Liman, and Novoekonomichne. So there's so you can see there's a lot of fighting in this sector here, and it seems to be all moving in a more like a northwesterly or westerly direction, which is interesting. So the breakout zone still exists, and basically not much change in terms of the breakout zone. We just do not have a very firm line where the front line actually is, but you can see pretty much where the line seems to be. So we will continue to monitor. I think the front line doesn't our current this Evil Rabbit crooked year still is pretty more or less there. The Russian Defense Ministry in a few days ago, I think 2 days ago, has shown a map. There's a briefing, and then they ask the media, and then they put a map behind them. The Evil Rabbit front is the front line is much bigger. So I just want to show you in their mapping, the zone of control is much bigger, it seems. I know it's super blur. Of course, they are not going to show you in details in the media. But there is some very weird mappings. For example, this part where so this is Pokrovsk, this is Minohrad, and so you can see this push allegedly in the north of Pokrovsk allegedly is happening. There's this massive, much bigger, advance in the rabbit year, which is somewhat not really real. I don't think it's super accurate. The main reason is because they don't even talk about it. So just now what we saw was so So can I undo this? I wonder if I can superimpose this. Something like this. Let me zoom in. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you can see, so now I've superimposed. You can see that this area here is entirely unreported, generally speaking, of any fighting by both sides. Both sides never mentioned anything about any fighting in this sector here. And the one on the west of this breakout zone seems to be more or less accurate. So and then to show that there is some kind of advance past the highway. The highway is here. Let me show you. This is the highway. To show that there is some advance across the highway is a bit unusual as well, because there is also no fighting being reported in this sector here. The closest you probably have is 18th of August. There's a shelling report, or at least a mention of it. Mrna in June, which clearly cannot be in June. So despite they draw the map in that way, like in this way, let me see where even if they draw the map in this way, as you can see, the superimposition, it's not entirely convincing. At least not to me. So this could be just be the maximum extent of where the troops has went, and may not necessarily be the actual front line. So just take it with a pinch of salt. In fact, take one freaking bucket of it. Make sure you get kidney failure, and then you'll be safe from misinformation and propaganda. But you may die from kidney failure. So just don't take too much salt. So don't take it too seriously. That's my main point. So over in the Twin City sector here, I want to zoom out a bit. Okay, again. So in this sector here, we have fighting reported at Chervony Liman, Novosilka, this already mentioned just now, Marolibivka, Promin, Sukiya, Novoukrenka, Vivrove, Kotline. I'm getting very used to using this Russian accent of pronouncing the names. The Pokrovsk, so you can see these are all very static lines. These are all static lines, except for the one at Pokrov. Maybe there's a bit more intention, but that's all in this sector here. And over in the rest of the Pokrov front, we have mainly only fighting at Voroshnya. But this is nothing burger. We move on to the next front line, the Koma front. So this is also this Koma, Velyka Novosilka is over here, very far away already. So in this sector, we have fighting reported at Dashne, Kharkiv, Filia, Yalta, Zeleny High. Ukrainian forces geolocated at Zeleny High confirmed the Ukrainians advance and counterattack at Zeleny High actually. Fighting is reported at Tolstoy, Alexandrov, Voskresenka, Melievka, Sosnivka, Velyka Novosilka, Velyka Mikhailivka, probably shelling. And the most important news is the consolidation of the Komi-Shuvaha region. Since the frontline changes report, new updates coming from Ukrainian mapping have confirmed that the entire region here in Komi-Shuvaha has been captured by the Russian forces. So this sector here in the south continued to suffer major collapse. The Ukrainians still have not able to stabilize the front line. It seems they are losing grounds step by step, while the Ukrainian forces is focusing on the counterattack in the north, trying to draw the Russian forces away from their offensive. Probably will not work. So that's the situation in this sector. If I zoom in, the last one was that we don't have this piece. This is a new piece. This is the latest information from today. And the Deep State UA have updated and to show that this entire impossible salient, which I put in the frontline changes report, the impossible salient is born, is now dead. It had a very sad life. It did not live very long. It did not hold. Poor, impossible salient. its life is already fated and destined to be impossible. But you know, yeah, I didn't expect its life to be so short-lived. It's all the Ukrainians' fault. So we're going to go on further south. So in the south, there is fighting reported at Novosilka. So this is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. So and this is very related to the fighting at the Huaypole sector, with fighting also being reported at Ohivsky. So so this is ongoing, but nothing else being reported at the Huaypole sector of the Zaporizhia front. We go on to the rest of the Zaporizhia front. So Zaporizhia city, and this is the rest of the front. This is the Orikhiv sector and the Kayamsky sector. This is the Huaypole sector. And there is only fighting being reported at Kanyamsky, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. And also I want to wish you guys who having birthday today a happy birthday to you. And also, you know, press the like button and subscribe. We go on to the last front line over the Kherson front. At the Kherson front or Kherson front, in English I will pronounce this as Kherson. Of course, in Ukrainian or Russian it's Kherson. You know, so you know, I feel like people find it you know, get very, you know, caught up by the pronunciation. Just like junta is the correct pronunciation in English. It's not junta. Junta is the actual pronunciation, the Spanish pronunciation, or the Latino pronunciation. But in English, it's actually junta. Junta, Kherson. You know, it's different language. Like you pronounce Xi Jinping, it's not wrong, but it's Xi Jinping. That's Chinese. There's no way you can pronounce Xi Jinping in English because it's not an English word. Unless if you read the English word, it's going to be Xi Jinping. So, you know, so don't get too caught up about pronunciation, you know. Anyway, at the Kherson front, so this is actually okay. I should put this at the shelling. But anyway, shelling is reported at Dniprovsk, Antonivka, Lvove, as well as Odra. Kanyamka. And there is fighting reported in the Dnipro direction, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, but that's all. Nothing particularly stands out, very routine report, and that's it. So this is the summary for the day of 1285 for the 31st of August. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the TPA Open Mind. Check it out. And I'll see you guys in the next update.